So Ramadan, one of the 5 pillars of Islam. It's a time in the year where all Muslims around the world are fasting, starting from Fajr all the way to Maghrib, which is about sunset time. It's a time where you need to form kind of a more deeper connection with Allah, increase the amount of charity you give, and just generally try and become a better Muslim in that period, and also try and form new habits that help you get closer to Allah. And obviously one of the biggest problems that a lot of the youth kind of face is that fasting from Fajr to Maghrib can seem like a lot, especially if you've got things that are going on like GCSEs, A Levels, or just exams in general. A lot of people kind of struggle with having to balance Ramadan exams. But one of the key things to remember is that we're here today because of Allah. We're here in this world because it's a test. One of the 5 pillars of Islam, the 5 things that should form the foundation of your religion, one of them is Ramadan. Without that one pillar, the whole structure then becomes rumbly. It's not fallen apart, but it has the ability to fall apart, which is very dangerous. So I think it's important to realize that you should obviously prioritize your deen. That should be the first thing that comes to mind, regardless of whether you have your GCSEs or your A Levels or any exams in general. The thing that's most important for people to understand is that there are things that you can put in place to kind of facilitate whatever you got going on. So for example, if you got your GCSEs, your A Levels, there's certain steps that you can take to make the actual revising for those exams easier, despite you being in a time abstaining from like food and drink. And yes, my people, you don't drink water during Ramadan, you don't. So yeah, hence why you're watching this video. You want to find out how can you try and get used to the whole vibe of Ramadan, even though you've got all these exams coming up. So yeah, I just like to start off by saying Ramadan Mubarak. Hope everyone's having a nice Ramadan whenever this comes out. Should be out Friday, when Ramadan should be announced to be on a Saturday, inshallah. But yeah, after that 30 days, don't worry guys, inshallah, we got Eid coming up soon. Then yeah, it's banging, man, it's banging. But I can't lie, Ramadan, I love it. I absolutely love Ramadan. It's one of my favorite months of the whole year. I'm probably gonna vlog almost every single, you know what, that might be an idea, you know, vlogging every single day of Ramadan. It's beautiful, man, it's absolutely beautiful. Just having that completely different schedule, getting to go to Taraweeh, just the vibes, man, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful, Ramadan time. It's an amazing thing. And if you're not a Muslim, I definitely would recommend you guys, I know a lot of Muslim people who've tried this, definitely try fasting one day. If you have some Muslim friends, be like, okay, what time should I wake up? What time should I break my fast? Try it for a day and see how it feels. And if you can, on that day, try and have like a group. We call it an iftar whenever you break the fast. So kind of the thing that when you break your fast, it's called iftar time. So try and have a group iftar with your friends if you're a non-Muslim, and just see the general vibes of it, I guess, innit? Because it is actually beautiful. But without further ado, let's get into this brand new video. So, top tip number 1. The first thing that you guys need to be able to do is adjusting your schedule and prioritizing. What do I mean by that? So, with Ramadan, we always start our fast at Fajr time, which I think now is going to be at 5 o'clock. Yeah, 5 or 4-ish. It's going to go back a few minutes every single day as well. So maybe will it be by 4:30? Will it be kind of by the end of Ramadan? I'm not too sure. But yeah, you'll basically be awake at the very early hours of the morning to have your meal just before you start fasting. What I'd usually recommend to people is that, actually, I'm not even going to get into that. We'll go into what we're going to eat later on. But yeah, essentially, because you're going to be awake at that time, and obviously you're breaking your fast towards 8 o'clock-ish, depending on obviously where you are, that is, it's important to readjust your schedule. This is going to vary from person to person, because, for example, it's different for me, and it's different for my sister currently, who's doing her A Levels. She's got college. Luckily though, she's got her Easter holidays, which are 2 weeks. But I mean, I've got a 3-week holiday. I've got a 4th week, which is the last week, but it's kind of very short, and also you don't always have to go to everything in university. So I'm more flexible with it. But for example, my sister, she's going to have kind of a more difficult but also rigid timetable plan of what she wants to get done, I guess. For me, essentially, I'm not too sure, I'll be completely honest, hands up, I'm not too sure on how I want to plan out my revision for that period, because obviously I have exams that I need to be revising for in that 3-week period. So I think what I'll do is a bit of trial and error. I've never actually spent time to actually try and schedule, prioritize my revision just generally during Ramadan. I just do it whenever I feel like it, I'll be completely honest. but I need to actually take some time to actually think about how I'm going to structure my day. But I think the main thing that I'm going to do is, because if I think about it, if iftar time's around 8 o'clock, suhoor time is about 5 o'clock. Between that period, I'm most likely going to be awake up to around about 1 or 2 o'clock. Because as well, if some of you guys might not know, there's also some night prayers, which aren't compulsory, but they're really, really good. So in those night prayers, in the prayers, you basically go through almost the whole Quran by the end of the 30 days. That's the main goal of it. And it's called Tarawih. So I'll probably be there for that. I'll be awake for that. If I get home around 1 o'clock-ish, probably sleep then. And probably stay awake till 5. I'm not too sure how I'll do that. I mean, I personally just have so much flexibility. I'm free the whole day anyway. But at the same time, I've got to account for, okay, I've got tutoring, so I can't be sleeping towards the afternoon time. Sometimes my tutoring sessions are going to go into iftar time, which I have to also account for, unfortunately. But yeah, it's always going to be changing here and there. That's the thing, alright? But yeah, try and find a schedule that works for you. Try and see, okay, when can I revise here? When do I come back from school? Do I need a little nap? Am I going to sleep in this time? So yeah, just try and schedule how you're going to do. I'll probably make a different video on how I'm going to schedule my time during Ramadan. And also prioritizing. Obviously, regarding your work, prioritize what work that you're doing. So for example, make sure you're kind of going over high yield content instead of kind of low yield content. Make sure you're going over the content that's 100% coming up in your exam as a priority to your topics that are not mentioned to have come up but can potentially come up. But obviously try and see if you can tackle both of them as well. But obviously try and see which one you're going to prioritize. But at the same time, in the whole gist of things, remember Ramadan is time for you to try and focus on your deen a little bit more. So yeah, just realize that I should prioritize at some point my deen. So if you've got 15 minutes of the day where, okay, I've probably not read the Quran today, let's say, and I got 15 minutes to spare, instead of me going to do some Anki, I think I would rather just go out and read a few pages of Quran, or maybe listen to a bit of a translation. Try and do anything that's going to help me get a greater understanding of my religion, which is the thing that we need to try and do, inshallah, for Ramadan. But yeah, try and prioritize certain aspects of your deen over just the work-life stuff. You get me? So that's what I'm trying to talk about regarding top tip number 1. Now on to the second one. The second one is taking regular breaks. With Ramadan, obviously, you're going to be, well, hopefully not too dehydrated, but you're going to be quite thirsty, hungry at some points. And that's probably going to be on your mind, meaning concentration is probably going to be quite rubbish. So what I'd recommend is probably the Pomodoro technique. Use the Pomodoro technique to try and have 25 minutes or 50 minutes. I personally don't like 25-minute thing, but maybe 50 minutes of solid work, then a little bit of a 10-minute break. Maybe read some Quran or just lie down a little bit, something. Then repeat that again and again and again. But yeah, take these breaks quite regularly, because it's going to be quite difficult to focus for a long period of time when you're thinking about food and water. But yeah, that's simply top tip number 2. Try and take regular breaks. Now on to the third one. Okay, so top tip number 3 is planning ahead. Make sure that you've got some kind of an idea what you want to do. You don't want to come to, let's say, oh, you're revising after suhoor time for like 2 hours. You don't want to be thinking, okay, what should I get done now? I'm not too sure what I want to do. That's why it's important to always plan the day before, the night before. Plan out what you want to do on the next day, because it really reduces the amount of procrastination that goes into thinking, what do I need to actually do? Alright? So 100% make sure you're just planning ahead of your time. Maybe get a calendar, a to-do list. I recently gave a talk for the Iron Society to prospective medical and dental students. And one of the key questions was, how do you plan out your time? And the thing that I said, I first use a calendar, secondly use your to-do list. Those two combined are the most elite combination ever. To-do list, you know what you need to get done that day. Calendar, you know what's going to come up for you in the next few days. Top tip number 4 then. So, just spend a lot of your time. I've probably said it a million times in this video, but don't forget the real true essence of why Ramadan is a thing. Why are you fasting? Don't forget why that's the case, because that is the most important thing. At the end of the day, you need to get through those 30 days. Hopefully, you've developed some good habits. If, for example, you haven't been praying all 5 salahs, that's completely alright. Ramadan is the time where you need to be practicing that, trying to improve that, inshallah. Start at the beginning, maybe implementing 1 or 2 more salahs, then continue doing that. I don't know what the saying is, but I think it takes like 21 days, 27 days to form a new habit. Think about it, Ramadan is 30 days. So if you were to do something quite consistently every single day, you'll have formed that as a habit. You'll be used to that. So I think that's the beauty of Ramadan. It really helps you create those really good, strong habits that are going to help you later on. Also, Quran. I think it was mentioned in the khutbah that I went to last week. A lot of us will spend a lot of time reading through the Quran, which, mashallah, it's amazing, 100%. But it's all for a lot of people, not everyone. A lot of people don't understand the Quran. It's like reading just plain old Arabic. I mean, maybe for me, I understand some aspects of it, but at the same time, I don't understand a lot of it. Different dialects and such. But try and get a more deeper understanding. Get a literal translation. We've got the internet literally at our fingertips. I can literally go search whatever I want. Quran translation, there you go. It's gonna come up straight up. So I think first we don't have an excuse for that, definitely. But secondly, yeah, I think that's a really important fact where we need to try and spend some more time understanding. But also, I'm not saying don't read the Quran, because astaghfirullah, why would that's just a madness. But spend a lot of more time trying to understand what the ayahs of the Quran are saying. Spend a lot of time researching more about your deen. Anything that you're unsure of, maybe spend some more time looking that up. Just want to know a bit more information, read that up. You've literally got the internet at your hands, and I think that's the most important thing about Ramadan. Yeah, just going back to your creator, innit? And I think the last thing just to mention is diet. During Ramadan, obviously we've been fasting for however many hours it is. So from 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock, that's what? 12, 15 hours? Say 15, 16 hours, it might range between there, I think, for the UK at least. Think about kind of iftar time, yeah? Most of us probably thinking that. Iftar, you're probably thinking, yo, I could eat like 5 burgers, I could have this, I could have like 8 samosas. Oof, you're just literally thinking about how much food you can eat. And a lot of the times, you'll probably overeat and you'll become so bloated and so exhausted after how much food you take it in. I'd say 100% just try and manage the amount of food that you're going to eat. You don't want to overeat, because that's just going to make you lazy and everything. So yeah. But also then during suhoor time, which is early morning around 5 a.m, what you want to be doing is making sure you're keeping hydrated. But also during iftar time, I forgot to mention, hydration is probably one of the most important things. So I definitely recommend like getting about 1.5-1 liter during iftar time, like, you know, after iftar or whatever, and right before suhoor. Like in that period, try and get like 2.5 liters of water in your body, just so that you remain hydrated for the rest of the day that you're fasting. But yeah, during suhoor time, I'd really recommend people firstly don't have anything that's like kind of fried or quite heavy. I've done that mistake before, and yeah, you're gonna regret it later on. But just have something quite light, but something that's kind of very heavy with fiber. I think like bananas are quite good to have, oats, stuff like that. A bit of yogurt, I think, is quite good to have. Yeah, I mean, you can also just search that up as well. What's good to have during suhoor time, and you'll see which ones are the best things to have. Dates as well. Dates are really good stuff to have. Obviously, it's the sunnah when you're breaking your fast to have some dates as well. But yeah, that's everything from me, guys, to be honest. If you guys have enjoyed the video, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, turn on push notifications button so you never miss out on bangers like this one. And inshallah, hope you guys have a blessed Ramadan, and I'll see you guys soon. Hopefully there'll be some nice Ramadan vlogs coming out as well. So I'll see you, man, in a bit. Safe.